Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here as we're starting to talk about the convention registration process, what needs to happen when we're all in Lincoln together in just a short month away. So thanks for joining today. I want to go ahead and introduce the staff that are on the call as well. And if you have questions at any time or need anything, feel free to use the chat, and then there'll be some times at the end too when we'll open it up for questions. I'm Sarah Heidemann. I'm a State FFA advisor. I work for the Department of Education. And when we're talking today, just know that we have a lot of information to share out. We still have some things that we're still waiting on for results and other things that are happening for conventions. So we'll share as much as we can now, and then we'll continue to keep you in the loop over the next couple of weeks. Donnie, I'll throw it over to you to introduce yourself, please.
Everyone, Donnie Walters, Leadership and Program Manager for FFA. And like Sarah said, I know there'll be a lot of questions. Please know you can reach out now or after the webinar. We might think of other questions as well. So we will do our best to get everything squared up and answered.
All right, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy Turnbull, State Director of Ag Ed, and I am with the FFA Convention. I am Donnie and Sarah's sidekick, so they've got most of the information, but happy to answer what I can.
So those are no. So you didn't have the answer key for the.
All right, thanks, Stacy. Heather.
Hey everyone, Heather Norberg. I'm the Office Associate for FFA. You'll usually hear from me if you have an invoice that needs paid.
Thanks, Heather. All right, and Matt on for CDEs.
Evan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see a lot of faces I haven't seen in a while. I'm with the University of Nebraska at Lincoln and serve as the CDE coordinator. We're looking forward to having you on campus, and thanks for the invitation to join you as well.
Great, thanks everyone. Okay, the presentation that we're going to walk through, just know that we'll share this afterwards. So we'll make sure that the link is posted and that everyone has access to this information. Okay, so our theme for convention is empower. So we are excited to have everyone together in Lincoln in a month and really embracing what it means to feel empowered, to empower our students, to empower each other, and to step up and be leaders in ag education and FFA. If anybody has illustrated this over the last couple of years, it has been ag teachers who have empowered their students in really some very challenging times over the last couple of years, just with the current state of our world. So thank you for all that you do, and we're excited to have you in Lincoln with us. The state staff that we just introduced, I want to just always make sure we share faces of who we are, because we haven't seen each other for a while. And oftentimes we only know each other through emails. So these are the folks that we introduced earlier today, earlier on this call. And if you need contact information or email addresses, then that's there on the slide as well. All right, welcome back. Over the next couple of weeks, just be thinking through some basic planning information when you're getting ready to come to convention. I know several seasoned teachers are on the call. We also have some new teachers, and we have teachers that have never been to convention in person before. So just a couple of friendly reminders. Make sure to have chaperones that you trust and that you can bring with you, and that make sure to keep them in the loop on information on what is happening for convention. Reminder that students have to be supervised while in Lincoln at all times. Make sure that you bring your medical release forms with you. They're linked in this form in case you need to grab those. On the code of conduct, or on the medical release forms, there's a section for the code of conduct. So please make sure to discuss that with your students and with parents as well. Make sure to have a conversation with your admin on how to handle any sort of discipline issues if they were to arise. Make sure to have a plan in place on how to handle that. And in preparation, if you have questions, if you need help, if you need support, please feel free to reach out to your own mentors, to state staff, to your district reps. There are people that can help, and oftentimes we sometimes forget information because we've done it, and we need to make sure to have a reminder to share information with everybody else. So feel free to reach out anytime. Here's important dates and information. So convention is, as you see, April 6th, 7th, and Registration will open tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central. Registration will close on March 21st at 5 p.m. Central. Please know that there is not an extension or late registration for any of our events. We know that people get caught up in things and last minute things happen. So please make sure to prioritize registration. That way, we can just avoid that whole late registration. It's just very difficult for us on our side of having final numbers and getting final counts in. You will get invoices. We'll talk about this specifically in a moment. You'll get an invoice from Nebraska FFA for the general convention registration experience. Then you'll get an invoice from UNL for CDEs. Please do not send in payment until you have received an invoice. So that'll be after registration closes. And then we are not able to offer refunds either. So please make sure to have as your final registration in and submitted by Monday, March 21st. For outstanding payments, these links will be in the presentation. Please check out the chapter in good standing page and balances due document. The chapter in good standing page is that big, that big document, and look all the way to the right. And that column will tell you if your chapter is in good standing or not. Balances due just means that you have some sort of outstanding invoice. So it doesn't mean that you're necessarily not in good standing. It just means that you have an open invoice. If you have any questions on invoices or questions on payment, there's Heather's email. She can get you squared away. We know that sometimes emails get lost or things need to get bumped up in your inbox. So if you have questions on anything for chapter in good standing or balances, please reach out to Heather. Okay, the next couple slides. This is just going to be the overall view of convention. Know that we'll share a lot more details about all of these things. It is helpful to kind of think about convention on like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So when you think about, man, I got to have something for everybody to do for 3 full days, let's just take kind of one day at a time. So we'll start with Wednesday. Registration is at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and that is required for all chapters. So everybody that's coming to convention who is registered for convention needs to come to PBA. That's where you will pick up a packet of information that has, if you've had any ticketed events, your UNL parking pass for East Campus, all of those goodies will be in that packet. So we are not mailing out anything ahead of time. So please make sure to coordinate stopping by PBA on Wednesday to pick that up. Registration opens at 7 a.m. So if you need to get over to East Campus for an early event, then you have time to do that. We have preliminary LDEs happening, career development events, the Agri-Science Fair, all of the proficiency interviews are happening on Wednesday. The expo will be in Pinnacle Bank on Wednesday. Hall of Chapters, chorus, rehearsal will be happening during the day. And then there's going to be an event on East Campus, which I'll let Matt talk about here in a minute, called the Husker Welcome Back event, which will be a free experience. There's some ticketed events that are happening in addition to East Campus tours, workshops, leadership workshops, and then the opening session that night. So all of those things happen on Wednesday. And Matt, do you want to talk about the Husker Welcome Back event?
You bet. We've missed you and your smiling student spaces on campus. And so in addition to all the tours and departmental experiences and campus scavenger hunt, we'll be hosting this welcome back event on the Meadow, which is a space between the Union and the dairy store and the library and I don't have the times in front of me, Sarah, I apologize, but it's on like from noon till 3 or so.
Yeah, we'll go on a big schedule in a little bit. It's all
right, thanks.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, completely free ice cream. They're going to give away a lot of swag. And for those of you that have seniors that are going to be coming to UNL, regardless of their major, coming to UNL next semester, if they check in, they'll also get a really nice gift as well, too. So we hope to see you there.
Thanks, Matt. So those are kind of big picture things of what's happening on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, again, registration is happening. That morning will be when final LDEs will happen, more career development events, State Convention Expo. Then we have several ticketed events that will be happening. You may be wondering, what are tickets? How do I get them? Do they cost money? What does that look like? We'll talk about all those things in registration, but just know that there are some things that require a ticket because they have limited seating for some things. There's also things that require registration that are free, just to make sure that we're accommodating the size of either the tour or the workshop. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. There's industry tours that are happening on Thursday, and then the convention sessions, which are also happening on Thursday at PBA. All right, then on Friday, a couple more CDEs happening in the morning. The STAR finalists will have their interviews and reception. The State Convention Career Fair, the Ag Issues Academy, for those individuals that have been selected to be part of that experience, will be meeting on Friday morning. There's a Living to Serve meal packaging event, which is a free event, but it requires registration. We'll talk about here in a moment. More tours, more workshops. Nebraska Farm Bureau is hosting the Quarter at the Cube. They're doing that on Thursday as well, and on Friday, which is a free come and go experience for students. And it's right outside of PBA, just down a half a block, and then convention sessions. The big thing happening on Friday is all the middle school events are happening on Friday. So when we're talking about all of middle school, we're putting like one big bow around this whole experience, and we're calling it the Middle School Academy. So that's for middle school students, for people in ag, poster event, discovery speaking, ag literacy speaking, quiz bowl, the middle school workshops, and then the East Campus Career Exploration Day. So there will be programming for middle school students starting at 8 a.m. and then going all the way to 3 p.m. on Friday. So we'll talk about some approaches on how to, suggestions, I guess, on how to get middle school students involved and at State Convention. Okay, so that's a big picture things. Now for some details on how all of this is going to happen. Oh, actually, let's talk about conflicts first. Sorry, got ahead of myself.
So looking at those 3 days of jam-packed activities, hey, we know there are going to be conflicts, especially with LDEs. There's going to be proficiency interviews, STAR interviews, agri-science fair interviews, all the things. If and as you, I should probably put as you discover any conflicts in your schedules, please let me know. Send me an email and we're going to work out a solution. So that's involving any LDE event, proficiency, STARS, agri-science fair interviews. Please please do not reach out to individual teachers and make a switch or move times. Otherwise, we don't know on site the day of the event what changes have been brokered outside of our knowledge, and we won't have accurate information to make that happen. So please, please, please just shoot me an email. I'll work out the switches, and then we'll have a master document that everyone can look at and know and be on the same page. We've already worked through a number of them, and I know there'll be more, so just let me know anytime. And then we add in CDE conflicts, and I'll let Matt talk a little bit about that, and we try and work together on making sure we have a solution when those two things are in conflict as well. Matt, if you want to talk about that process.
Yeah, the CD process is a little different. And Sarah, I don't know, can you click on that link there?
Yes, I can.
And so this is the registration and scheduling conflict page here. But on the second, there's a tab right next to registration called scheduling conflicts. And if you click on that, it'll actually walk you through a process to do that. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see that basically, if you keep answering yes, you keep moving down, and hopefully you get to the point where you solve a scheduling conflict. In brief, though, if your CDE offers multiple start times, multiple time slots or sections based on your district, then there could be a chance that you can move into a different section. But this does require that that you would identify and communicate with another agriculture teacher in advance, get them to say, yes, I'll swap with you. And then at the end of that, you would email our student coordinators on step number 5 there. We've tried to make this really easy to see. So like on step number 3, and if you click on 3A, click here to see schools and qualifying CDEs, our district chairs have already started this. And so I believe vet science has multiple time slots. So if you click on veterinary science on the right, and you know that you need to switch with someone in districts 1, 2, or 3, you can actually click the email district 1 participants, and then go ahead and click that if you would. And then copy that contact list, paste it in an email, say, hey, would any of you please be willing to trade? And again, once you get someone to say yes, you'll just email our student coordination team, and they'll take care of communicating that to the superintendents. But you cannot change unless you do find another school with which to swap. So please send it this way and not over the listserv is our request.
All right, thanks, Matt. Okay. All right, now let's get into more of the detailed schedule. I know we talked big picture on those days. If you haven't checked this out already, we're going to use Sked, which is a way that will communicate information about convention. It's also a great way for you to create your chapter schedule. You can filter by dates, venues, by type. You can look at a bunch of different kinds of scheduled views. You can create your schedule by selecting these little boxes. And then you can also download PDFs and different versions of schedules that you can print, share with students, or you can also email to students. You could email to advisors, other advisors, chaperones, etc. So this is what the Sked app looks like. If you have, when you enter in, if you haven't signed up yet, then there'll be like a login here button or create login something. I would encourage you to do that. That way you can save your own schedule, but that is not required. So if you want to just like share this information with parents so they have an overall schedule of what's happening, or you want to download the app to your phone but not log in, then that's an option too. So when you're looking here, this is the whole schedule. So this is every single thing that's happening. This is very overwhelming to look at. So pick one of these filters over here if you want to look by venue and you want to see, okay, what's happening at the graduate on each of these days, then gives you the time blocks and what's happening. You can also sort by specific type. So if you want to look at just general admission things like convention, the registration, the convention sessions, things that require no additional registration, you can do that. You can check out just the LDE schedule. You get what you can do. One other piece that I encourage you to look at are the workshops. So these will continue to be populated as we get the information for workshops and the descriptions. This will continue to be populated in here. All right, so these workshops that are listed, these do not require registration. So these are just come, and when they're full, they're full. Each one of these workshops is a 60-seat limit. So when 60 seats are full, then the workshop is full, and then they can go to another session at another time. We have more to add to this list. We're still kind of finalizing some details, but there will be more workshops that will be added. Okay, I'll draw your attention to the ticketed events. So these are things that require a ticket to attend or require registration. So ticket, and then you can see here it says registration required. So this is telling you, okay, leadership academies, those are going to require registration, and it's going to require a ticket. The Juan Bendenya, he's our keynote speaker on Wednesday night. Same thing, it's requiring a ticket and requiring registration. For more like an expanded view of that, and if you want to see what those actually are, you can click expanded view, and then you can see the location where they are, has the description, has who sponsors it. You can click here and it gives you the address. It shows you what the capacity is. So that's a way to see the expanded view there. As you kind of hover over these, you can see the things that require special registration. So like industry tours, you know, it's telling you that you need to have a registration to be able to do those things. All right, when we're looking at the East Campus tours, these also require registration, but all of these are free. So nothing that's happening on East Campus is of any charge. And we have this broken down, what we hope is very clear to understand of, okay, what's a charge, what's not a charge, how do we get to things for free, like what does that look like? So we've created what we feel like is a pretty easy registration system to do that. But just when you're navigating Sked and kind of planning, okay, what are my students going to be doing for these 3 days? Those are a couple of things that I'd encourage you to look at. One other kind of cool thing to look at on the schedule is you can look at it by grid. So you can scroll down here and see, okay, what is happening at the venues? Oops, sorry, what's happening on the venues? What are overlaps? What are things that are happening? And whatever you've picked for your schedule, then it will only show just your information. So if you know you're going to Leadership Academy, you can add that to your schedule. You can add the workshops that you want to attend, and that will just populate your own schedule.
Sarah, there was a couple questions in the chat, and one that might, in case people aren't following that, one of the questions was, can we plan individual schedules for students through Sked?
So there's a couple different approaches on how you could do that. So you can only plan one schedule per the user. So if I know that I need to attend convention registration and I have a AgCom and all I want to do is golf, so I'm going to go to that workshop as well. When I click on my schedule, it will only pull those things for my schedule. So a couple different things that you could do. You could add everything that you know your students will go to like one big comprehensive schedule, and then add that to, my schedule, and then print that. So that's one way to do it. And then when you print that, you could either download it and save it as a PDF. And if you know how and you want to, then you could edit the PDF. You could open it in a Word document, and formatting transfers pretty well. So you could type in it, or you could just go old school and print off copies, and then people can write their names on it. So that's one option for planning. You can also rename your profile. So instead of it being Sarah Heidemann, you can name yourself like Central City FFA, and then it would say Central City FFA schedule. So you could rename that. Something else you could do is help your students log into Sked, and then they can create their own profile and then create their own schedule. So you wouldn't be able to share a schedule with them, but they could, you could either print them something or walk through it with them. They can go through and they can select their own things that they would either are competing in or will be attending. Thanks for watching the chat, Donnie. I didn't see that come through.
Yep, and there's one other one as well. Are ticketed events and UNL tours first come, or are schools limited?
Yes, so for the registration process for the UNL tours, industry tours, and the workshops, those are all first come, first serve. The only limitation we have is around middle school, and I'm kind of purposely waiting for that to be in a moment because middle school is its own kind of approach. So the middle school ticketed events, those are limited by school, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Something else that's exciting that is a ticketed event that we'll be offering is the Living to Serve food packaging event. So we request registration to be completed for this, just so we can get an accurate count. But this is a good opportunity for your students to be part of a project on Friday, April 8th. I think the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory. If you hover over general attendance, it also lists all the sessions because this choir will be singing in all the sessions. So you can see here. Okay, I think you all kind of get the gist of what to do for schedules. You can also come across the top here to speakers, and you'll see our convention speakers, the state officers for their retiring addresses. Obviously, this still needs to be built out, as you can see, but we'll continue to add information in here. So you can learn more about Juan Mendena. He's our keynote speaker on Wednesday night. He's also going to offer 2 ticketed workshops on Thursday. So you can, 100 capacity. So this is a ticketed event. That's a first come, first serve. He's also going to do a meet and greet. That's just a pretty informal hangout. Like students can come talk to him. There's no like formal workshop that's happening, but it's just come and go. If you have questions or want to talk or, just interact. And I know we've all been to a session where it's like the keynote feels like really far removed, or of course, well, they can do it because they're a speaker. I just really appreciated how down to earth Juan was and wanting to meet and interact with students. So that's another option for a free event to attend. Okay, so those are the speaker tabs. The sponsor tab is also going to continue to be built out, but you can click in here and you can see what they are sponsoring this way. And I really encourage it, and you can do it the other way too. So if you click on junior public speaking, you would see that it's sponsored by CoBank. So this, I really encourage you to share this information with your students and write thank you letters after convention. We're also working on collecting all the addresses and inputting all those in here. So all that will be in one spot. We'll also add all the True Blue sponsors in here as well for thank you letters for convention. Right, then this page here for information and planning, this is just one spot that's going to collect a lot of information. So we've already added things here from our webinar today. We put all the convention links in here for registration, and then other just important information, resources, links. We're going to continue to add things here. These are also all viewable on your smartphone too. So you can download the app and have access to all of these information, all this information on your smartphone as well. Okay, questions on Sked before you? Okay, so the Sked app, you can download it to your smartphone, and when you download it and open it up, it automatically pulls you to this screen, and you just have to search for State FFA Convention and it will pop up. After it's popped up, like you can view everything on the app without logging in. So you can tell parents or whoever, if you want to just see what's going on, then they can do that way. I would encourage everybody to get an account. They are totally free. Like Sked does not reach out, or like they don't send you anything. Like Sked is completely out of it. But the good thing is if you sign up or have your students sign up, then again, they can make their custom profile and have a custom schedule there. And then you can get email notifications. So when you click on your account, you can get email reminders and email announcements. So we're still like kind of working through on how that will exactly look, but we know that there are times when we need to announce like LDE finalists, for example. So we're still ironing out what that will look like, but know that you might get emails from us through Sked. And they go to whatever email you use to sign up for the event. So I'd encourage you to turn on your email announcements and reminders that way. If you opt in and you think, I do not like this and I want out, there's an unsubscribe button on the email. So you are welcome to unsubscribe as well. Please know that we are not going to be sending you 1.5 million emails. It truly will be like big picture convention results or information that would be very, very pertinent to send out. So if you advise chaperones, other adults want to sign up for email reminders, just know that we're not going to bombard you with email notifications. Okay, middle school academy. So this is a screenshot of what is happening in Sked in middle school for any student that is participating in any of the middle school events. So that's workshops, Quiz Bowl, People in Ag, LDEs, CDs, anything that is middle school. They need to register as a general convention registration, and they'll need to register for this middle school academy. Okay, so we'll talk about registration fees and go through that in a minute. All registration for every student is $15 to attend, and the middle school is an additional $5. So for your students to be part of programming from 8 to 3, it will be $20 a student in order for that to happen. That will also include a lunch for every single person. So it's not like I'm going to opt into lunch or not, or it's like every single person that is coming to the middle school academy will get a box lunch at the graduate. So all of these things here on the screen are happening at the graduate. What we did not include on this screen is discovery speaking and ag literacy speaking. That actually happens at the embassy. So that's just like one block back to the east from the graduate, and that's where the speaking events are going to happen. We're full of the graduate, like we use every square inch of space that they have. It's also just a more conducive speaking event when there's not, 32 teams of Quiz Bowl happening right next door to you. So the middle school leadership development events happen at the embassy. So make sure that, again, register your students for convention and register them for middle school academy. You will need to have a identified chaperone that's also with your middle school academy. So a suggestion might be, if you just want those students to come down for Friday, a chaperone could bring them down, and then they would spend the whole day with them at the graduate. And then transportation to head over to the East Campus experience is also required. So we're not doing busing from middle school over to East Campus. East Campus, they're putting together a pretty cool event for middle school exploration, career exploration, that will go from 1 to 3 over on East Campus. Okay, so that is middle school academy. Let's talk about limits for some of these. So the middle school workshop topic A and topic B, those are 2 workshops that happen every hour on the hour. So you can see 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So when your students are not competing in Quiz Bowl, or they are not doing a People in Ag poster, or they are not doing middle school discovery speaking, then send them over to a workshop. So kind of approach this like an hour by hour. What are my students doing at 8, 9, 10, 11? The limits would be for Quiz Bowl, each of the Quiz Bowl rotations can have 32 teams in it. So when the 30, you get to pick whichever Quiz Bowl rotation you want to be in. You can be in, rotation A, that's from 8 to 9, rotation B, which is in 9 to 10. You see what I'm saying. Each school can bring 2 4-person teams. So it'll be a total of 128 teams for the whole event. So that is one of them that is limited by school. And then People in Ag, those poster rotations, you can, for all the People in Ag, you can have 3 students participate in People in Ag. Each one of these rotations will take 90 students. So if for whatever reason People in Ag doesn't fill, then we'll open it back up and let people register for more. But each one of these rotations takes 90. Each chapter gets to send 3 total for People in Ag.
Also, too, on the Quiz Bowl, that the school would sign up for the same session, both teams.
Yes, thanks, Lonnie. And in like Quiz Bowl Group A, there's actually 4 rooms that are competing. So you would have, when you, I don't know why Central City is top of mind, but if Central City is bringing 2 teams, they would happen in Quiz Bowl Group A. They could be in different, rooms for each one for that rotation.
So Sarah, can you clarify? Each school can bring up to 2 teams, but there is a limit. So like it will close off at a certain point, or no, or like each school is guaranteed to have 2 spots if they want them.
It's not that you're guaranteed it, because each rotation only can take 32 teams. So when Quiz Bowl Group A is filled with 32 teams, then it's just full.
Okay.
When this is, so each rotation can have a maximum of 32 teams. Okay, I know we talked a lot about scheduling and what's happening. These are all the venues that we will be in. So some of these are very popular that you will be in for sure. Pinnacle Bank Arena, UNL's East Campus. There's a couple of things that are only happening for a very small group of people. So like the Cornhusker, that's only for the state officer candidate. So that's the only time anything is happening at the Cornhusker. The Courtyard by Marriott, we'll share what's happening there. That's another popular spot. Embassy is only for middle school LDEs. So that's only impacting, those 24 speakers that are coming in ag literacy and the 24 that are coming in discovery speaking. The Graduate, a lot of things happening there. Hilton, A lot of things happening there. Hyatt, this is where all of the workshops are happening. There's a CDE and tour happening at Innovation Campus. Pinnacle Bank Arena are all the sessions, and then East Campus. So this link shows you the map. So just for orientation, north is up here, Pinnacle Bank, and then you can see the different venues and what is happening at each of those venues. There's also 2 other maps, all part of the same document, one for Innovation Campus and one for UNL's East Campus. I don't know if now you want to talk about this now, Matt, or do you want to, we can circle back around, and if you want to share your screen, or how do you want to do that?
No, I'll just point a couple things out on here. We ask that when you're dropping off students, especially if you have school buses, that you would enter on 33rd Street up there by Game and Parks, and then travel around the loop in a clockwise fashion, and then they can stop and drop students off or pick students up wherever you'd like. The reason for that is that the normal campus buses move counterclockwise, and they wanted to avoid like slowing down that traffic. And so we'd really ask that. Also, I'll just mention now that if you want to park on East Campus, you will have to order a parking permit through the CDE registration, not through the FFA side, but when you're registering for CDEs. And there are 3 lots that would work for vans or cars. School buses have to park up there on the north side there. But anyway, it's parking's just fun on campus. We all know that, but we try to make it as easy as possible. Also, when you order those parking permits through us, we're going to deliver them prior to the convention down to state staff, and they're going to stuff all those into your registration envelopes. So one place you'll pick up the convention things plus these CDE parking permits as well. And then you'll see that we've noted where the competitions take place. It's all CDEs plus the Ag Demonstration Leadership Development event takes place on East Campus. And then at some point, Sarah, you'll probably talk about the shuttle between East Campus and City Campus. Well, those maps up here, you'll see that the shuttle will actually stop at 2 different locations and be able to pick up your students while they're on East Campus. And we're going to have some tents set out there, so it's going to be really obvious, like, oh, this is the shuttle stop. And if there is any moisture or precipitation, that they'll be able to stay dry at least. Thanks. Oh, and Innovation Campus, the only thing happening out there is food science. But just know that UNL doesn't control this parking out here, and it's actually worse than university parking. So I've gotten tickets out here before not understanding how it works, but there are a few guest spots. Beyond that, though, a lot of people just will drop off their students at the place there, the Food Innovation Center door, or the shuttles will run during the food science CDE out to Innovation Campus and then back through the other 2 locations.
Matt,
Thanks,
there was a question in the chat about can you park or drop off students in the parking lot next to the student union? I'm assuming that's like not in a bus.
Yeah, so we cannot park there, and sometimes they'll have attendants out there that say, no, you're not allowed in here. Other times, if there's no one there, like, go in, but no promises on that, I guess. I'm not sure, who they'll have and how many they'll have there. They did say that there are like staffing shortages for parking lot attendants, so maybe we'll get lucky. But in any case, you may not be allowed in that lot. If you do not park in that lot. Please make sure you go back out and park in the pavilion lot right across the street. Thank you.
So the information for the shuttles that Matt was talking about, the schedules are down here. And he has a good reminder on here too. Please make sure that your students are chaperoned. Like these are just buses for our convention. Like they are not a public bus service. So it's just FFA members that are on the buses, but there has to be chaperones on the buses. So please make sure that you've identified who's going to be with your students. We do not supply any sort of supervision for that. The buses run from East Campus and then come right over here. This is the post office, and this is the main door to PBA. So it's just like a half a block, shoop, shoop, right here. And that's where the shuttle will run about every 20 to 30 minutes. And it is a walkable distance to go from, PBA to come over here to go to workshops, come down here for proficiencies, Ag Issues Academy. All of those things are very close to each other and walkable distance. Even the graduate is up a block and down a block this way. What is not pictured on this map is just the embassy, which is just that very small group of people for middle school speaking events. And that is just picture like a hotel right here. That's just one block over right here. For parking downtown, these are hourly garages that, like you have to have a credit card to leave type thing that work for like Suburbans or cars. If you have a big, like a passenger van or school buses, then there is free parking in what's called festival parking, which is kind of over here behind Pinnacle Bank. So this is an option to park as well. The parking over here at the graduate, this is a very, very small parking garage. So unless you have a car, just don't even try it, because that's like really, really tight for pickups, Suburbans. Like anything bigger than a car is very, very tight in the parking garage. Oh, there we go. We just talked about parking and busing. Okay, so now on to registration. There are 3 registration links, okay? And I know that seems like a lot to manage, but honestly, it's very clean on what is on each one of these events. So State FFA Convention, this is what is required for everybody to complete. Okay, it's run through judging card. You'll have to have your judging card credentials to log in. It's closed right now, so it's opening tomorrow at 7. But you click here to online registration, and this is everything that is on convention registration. So this is your general registration, middle school, ticketed things. Like these are things that cost extra or are part of the convention, like part of what FFA is coordinating and running. This section, sign up is no invoices. This is all free events, and these are things that FFA is not coordinating, but FFA is like promoting. So this would be all the workshops that are happening on East Campus and all of the industry tours. So again, we'll share this. You can click through here and see what's happening. There's a lot of workshops, and this is all matching to what's happening here in your East Campus tours and all the industry tours. That's all matching. Okay, so you can see here that there's no invoice. This is just for free. You can also see what the cap is. So if you want to go to the Great Migration, which is an East Campus workshop at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, they will take 100 spots. Okay, when you see that that number is getting closer to 100, when this says 100 in this column and this is 100, then that will close, and then a wait list option will come in. So if you really, really, really want to go to the Great Migration and 10 o'clock is the only time that works, then underneath this line will say the Great Migration 10 a.m. wait list. So this is an option then. If you want to get in here and wait list, then you're able to do that. If somebody changes and drops their registration, then whoever's at the top of the list gets added automatically. So it just automatically runs itself. So these events can all be monitored or can all be changed at any time. So you'll notice that the ones that are on this page probably go by quickly. So if there's something that you really, really need or want that only works for whatever reason, head to this page first, do your general registration, advisors, middle school, do those things last, and do the ticketed things first. Because once you enter, you can always go back in and change, you can drop, you can add general registration that way. One piece on waitlisting. So let's say you really want to go to this Leadership Academy 1, okay? And there's 100 spots for Leadership Academy 1. If you have requested 5 tickets and you put 5 people on your wait list and one person drops and this number goes to 99, it only lets the same number go in. So if you requested a bigger number, you need to either drop down to 1 ticket to get your 1 ticket or move yourself in the line. It will work the inverse. If 5 spots open and you have requested 3, you automatically, whoever's at the top of the list, those 3 would go over and then 2 more spots would open. So that's something else just to monitor and watch. as people are changing or shifting, then you can monitor and check the wait list. Our staff helps with that too. So we have people that are monitoring and kind of helping make sure that, wait lists are working and are getting filled appropriately. Most of these, you do not have to enter students' names. So especially like on all of these, this is just a count that we're helping collect for UNL. So we can tell, Nebraska Tractor Test Lab, okay, you would just come in here and say, I'm bringing 6 students to that. It doesn't require a name. It doesn't require any sort of input besides just like a raw number for these things. So don't feel like you have to know like exactly what every single person and every single student is doing. It's just, I know that there will be a group of students going, and that's how you can hold those spots there. Okay, so those are kind of the big differences between these two links that are in judging card. And we'll talk about CDEs in just a minute. This one is required. So that Nebraska State Convention one, this is required for everybody, right? Because it has the general registration, has advisors and chaperones. General registration for 7 through 12 and all advisors and chaperones are $15 a student, and it's required to be completed. If you have parents and guests that are just attending a session, you do not have to register them. So if you have somebody that wants to come and watch their student who's a proficiency finalist for Thursday night session, they do not have to register. Okay, there is no charge for them to come. There are no badges, buttons, name tags, anything regarding registration. So parents can show up and just find their way to general seating. Okay, middle school, we talked about that. Anybody that's doing anything for middle school, they have to be on this middle school academy. In addition to being on the general registration, we talked about the middle school. You have the 3 time rotations to sign up. You bring 2 4-person teams, and they have to be in the same rotation. We talked about people in ag. There's the rotations. And there's a couple things that are free of charge, but they're still part of like our convention, part of what FFA is coordinating. So we're also collecting registration through there. Each chapter can bring 2 delegates to represent their chapter. The Living to Serve meal packaging event, the Tag to Teach Ag Lunch, which is for all students who are committed to or enrolled in being an ag teacher. So this would be for outgoing seniors who have decided that they want to be an ag teacher. So this would be for them to come, in addition to you as the teacher are welcome to attend as well. And then there's also these with the Feed the Leadership Academy and the one with Daniel Workshop. Okay, East Campus, those are all free industry tours, the Husker Welcome Back event. This is all optional, like you are not required to attend this. However, if you're choosing to attend these things, then you must complete it. So this is optional. If you want to do these tours, you can, and then you can check the workshop caps numbers are on that sheet there.
Sarah, there was a question in the chat that's probably a good one to address. How do you get to the judging card registration links?
Yep, so these links, I'll share this PowerPoint, that these are all links here, so you can get to them that way. You can get to them in information and planning, State FFA Convention, East Campus Workshop Tours and Registration, CDE. And if you like having options, because who doesn't, you can also just go to judging card. You can sign in with your credentials. Search for Nebraska. And then, well, it's not open yet, so it's not published, but then you can see right here on the 8th, Tuesday the 8th, it'll open right there. Oh no, sorry, it's not by registration, it's by date. Sorry, I said that wrong. Oops. So it's on the dates right here. So Nebraska Convention, Nebraska East Campus. So there's a couple different ways to get to it. The easiest way is to just link to it from Sked if you're using it there. And of course, we'll post this as well. The way to get into judging card is same as AET. So you can go in and modify, change. You'll click here on online registration. It's not open yet, but you click here and that's where you can modify and change. And all of it is tied to your students in AET. Again, please wait until registration closes on March 21st. We'll get and export all this information out. We will send you an invoice. Please do not send any payments or do anything until you've received your final invoice. Okay, so that is the convention registration, workshop and tour registration. And I know Matt wanted to talk about CDE. Do you want to share your screen, Matt, or do you want to use my link here?
Yes, please. I'll go ahead and share. Here it is. All right. Well, so CDE registration timeline follows the same as the convention registration. And so it's linked directly to the registration page from the places that Sarah had mentioned as well on Sked and things. But if you go to the CDE registration website, or the CDE website, you can go click here to register, and it will jump you back over to that page that we showed briefly earlier. Again, scheduling conflicts was this other tab here. The registration instructions are here. So we give some instructions and some notes and tips around some things. I guess some things I'll just highlight here is that for those events that qualify from the district to the state level, if your event has already happened, then your NAEA district chairperson should have identified in the system that you have a team going to the state career development events. And so if they're not listed, there's a place here where you can contact your district chairperson to ask about that. Also, another thing I always want to mention is that only registered participants and alternates can participate the day of the event. Every year, and it's a hard phone call to take, but every year there's a teacher says, oh, this kid didn't end up coming, can I have this other kid going? And the question I always ask is, are they registered as an alternate? If the answer is no, then the answer is, I'm sorry, they can't participate. And so that is an NAEA rule around that. And then also remember that CDE events with multiple sections are assigned based on your district. Hopefully you've been looking at the schedule already, but an example would be like environmental and natural resources. If you're in districts 5 through 8, your students will check in at 2 and start from 2:30 and go to 4:05, just like you see here. So there are some events that are a little different, like Ag Communications has a team event, and there'll be a team schedule that'll eventually be posted here. Ag Issues has a posted schedule. Marketing Plan has a posted schedule, but we give general time frames for these things here so you can plan. Ag Sales is another one as well. Going back to this, know that CDE invoices will come from UNL, from our department, and that we charge $6 per participant. You can add as many alternates as it will let you, so please add all of those. Those are free, but we will charge $6 per participant. Additionally, there are some events that have an associated team fee because of supplies and things like mechanics, floriculture, and then also livestock eval teams are going to add another $20 on top of the $6 per kid because we'll feed them pizza and water for lunch. Just a note that takes place on a Friday during Lent, and so you have hamburger, pepperoni, or cheese options, and you have to choose that when registering. And that our payment is due on May 15th. So you can make changes to your registration all the way through March 21st at 5 p.m. Now, here's the number one question I get asked. How do you log into the system? Well, your username is your first name dot last name, like John.Smith. And if you do not remember your password or never received one, you're going to click the forgot your password link. So I'll go ahead into the system here. Oh, it remembered who I was, sorry. And so for me, it's Matt.Kreifels, and it wants me to create one. Hold on. And there's the forgot your password button, but please use that. And it just takes just a couple minutes to do that. Now I'm wondering if I remember my password, to be honest with you, because it always, there we go. Okay, I got lucky. Okay, close your eyes for this part. This is the back end of it. I'm going to go ahead and view teachers. I'm going to impersonate Kaylee at Arlington here. so you can see what it looks like from a teacher side. So when you first log into the system, please make sure that your information is updated and correct here. After that, you're going to look at your student information on the left. And this should be a list of students that have previously registered for career development events. If they're listed here and that information is still correct, that's awesome. If there are students here that are listed that you don't plan to take to convention, just leave them. You don't have to delete them. This is not a roster of everyone you plan to bring, but really all the students available that could be registered for CDEs. And if you delete them and they want to go next year, it just makes that tougher. If there's students here that are not listed, click the Add Student to Roster button. It'll add a line here where you add first name, last name, choose their grade, their gender, and if they're an FFA member or not. Also, incidentally, in order to participate in CDEs, students do not necessarily need to be FFA members in order to participate. Some teachers use that option as well. You don't have to worry about chaperones this year. The guts of this thing is step number 2, event registration. Again, East Campus parking passes are listed here. You have 3-day, 2-day, and 1-day options. Pay attention to which days those cover. But car and van passes are much less expensive compared to bus passes. But again, you'll just put a number in here of how many of each one of those you want. After that, you'll see here that only events listed are those that are either open enrollment, which means you did not need to qualify to participate, or those that that you have qualified it for. So it looks like Arlington did qualify both a junior and senior livestock evaluation team, for instance. And so it comes in here with some reminders. You can close that little X there, but it will list all of your students that are eligible. And then if they're not eligible, because these are juniors and seniors, and this is junior livestock evaluation, they're listed here. So you want to list, of course, all your participants. And this is the one where you do have to choose what kind of pizza they offer, and you just drag them over. But also you want to list all of your alternates as well. And you just fill all these boxes. Once you've done that, your team is registered. You don't have to save, you don't have to do anything else. But that team is registered at that point. It's mad right now because I didn't fill the team. If you want to change things around, you can move students and drag them between. It'll always ask you the question again for this event, or you can just drag them off as well. And then finally, go ahead.
There's a question in the chat. Is there a gluten-free option for the Friday lunch?
There is not. In that case, it'd probably be best if students were to bring their own. I don't know that we have the capacity for that, to be honest with you. So if you have a question about that, please reach out to me by email. I probably need to give that more thought, but right now we just order a bunch of pizzas, put it in a line, and have water at the end of the table is what happens currently. The other thing I'd just say as far as CDE registration, if you just want to see everything you're registered for, click on step 3 summary, and it will list all the events, how many students you have, and give you like a subtotal preview of what your invoice will be after registration closes. So with that, are there any other questions about registering for career development events? Invoices, again, are due to UNL. As a reminder, many teachers will submit these to their curriculum budget rather than to their FFA chapter budget because of the way that they're an extension of the classroom for your ag programs. Other than that, I'll turn it back to you, Sarah.
Matt, I have a question.
Go ahead, Dave.
Is there a way that we can print off our subs and so we can remember those?
The day after registration closes, we will email an invoice directly to you, and the invoice lists alternates and participants.
Okay.
And so there's like a 1-day window where you don't have access to that. Give us a second, and when your invoices come out, you'll have exactly all that information.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, thanks.
Great, thanks, Matt. Okay, we are nearing the end. Okay, so that was a ton of information that we just threw at you. So now thinking through Okay, what do we do and how do we make this happen? Think through, like, organize your schedule and look through and decide what are ticketed, what are registration events that are that you want to attend. Prioritize those, prioritize the events on East Campus, go to those first and complete registration, and you can come back anytime and then complete the rest of your registration, continue and edit. And then register for the items that have no caps and complete general registration. We talked about the wait list. And then this last one is just all of the links. These are all the same links and just like one summary slide that we'll share. One piece before we go is on our homepage, we have brought back the guide. Last year we were trying to be cute and we did 21 for 21. That was too much pressure. So instead of trying to think of 22 for 22, we just went ahead and did alpha order A to Z. So this document, which I'll show here in a minute, has a ton of information in it that we will continue to add. So I know we like bombard you all with emails. We know, and we're sorry. We're trying to get better on putting things in one spot that you can go as a resource. Linked here is Sked. And just a quick reminder, if you have not ordered convention t-shirts or sweatshirts yet, the store closes today. The countdown on the convention on that website is wackadoo. So we don't know what that countdown is about. We just know that it is closing tonight. So the convention A to Z guide is in alphabetical order. This will change as we think and have more information that we need to share. We'll continue to update this table of contents. We'll also share the latest version. We would encourage you not to print this. Just so you have the most up-to-date information, check online this way. And let's say you want to check out like, what is happening for proficiencies? You can just click there and it links it to you. And it will tell you the interviews, the times and the locations, and then more information. So you can read through all of these things. In general, each topic kind of starts with the same way. So the date, time, the location, and then more specific information. So this is view only. You're welcome to look at it. And if you think, wow, this should really be in the A to Z guide, please email Donnie and I so we can think, we can go ahead and add that. So if you have that question, more than likely other people have that question as well. So you are welcome to start using this. I think that was the last thing that we had. And I know we are running over what we said we would do, but do want to open it up. I mean, we can stay on for a couple more minutes and ask some more questions. Ask questions or let me know if you need anything.
One other thing that was on the landing page of neaged.org was uploading manuscripts for LDEs and employment skills. That is now all embedded in, just a reminder, in the A to Z guide. So if you have manuscripts that yet need to be uploaded, March 15th is the deadline, and you can find that under L for leadership development events in A to Z guide.
Great.
One thing that one of the questions in the chat reminded me of is like student supervision. And just in the last 3 years that we've had 80 teachers participate as beginning teachers in Nebraska. So there's a big group of people that haven't brought students to convention before. And my best recommendation is to like print off these maps and, you know, think through the big pieces of your schedule and to have a conversation with your local administrator around, you know, their expectations for you having chaperones or sponsors with students when there's really spread out over, you know, many different locations. And so I would just recommend being upfront with them around the realities of what this convention is and the number of events and different events that you have students in, and allow them to help you troubleshoot on how many sponsors you need and who those people might be. It's been my experience that if you can get like Perez or even other teachers that could come, that's awesome. And then if you are relying on parents and volunteers, that's like another kind of layer to go to. But it's a lot. And so get that cleared by your admin is my best advice.
Great. Okay, any other question. Oh, yes, we're checking in on choir. I think over the next. Yeah.
Actually, I've got an updated information on that. Yes, so all choir music has been sent to the choir or the music teacher at the school that was listed when you put the application in. So visit with that individual and he or she should have all the information for your FFA choir members. So check that out. And then also a reminder that all the links for getting into registration, whether it's the General Convention, the East Campus workshops, tours, and CDE are in Sked. They're also posted in the A to Z guide, and they will be available on this the PowerPoint, or excuse me, the slide deck that we've gone through today. So find them in 3 different locations.
Okay, well, thanks for joining today. We will post this and share more information out. Reach out anytime if you have questions or need anything. We truly are here to help and support you. And we just want to say thank you for all that you are doing to make sure your students are ready to come to convention. We're excited to see you all in Lincoln in just a couple of short weeks. If you need anything in the meantime, feel free to reach out. And if you aren't sure exactly who to ask, we'll make sure to pass around the information so it gets to the right area. So just want to say thanks for joining today. And we'll see you in just a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.